Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We got a new video here today, and on today's video we are installing water cooling lines for our 8th gen R18 eBay turbo build. So stay tuned, keep watching. Just gave it a fresh wash today, sitting and looking pretty. If you guys aren't familiar, eBay turbo kit TB25 baby snail here. We've been running it about 2,500 miles. Everything is pretty much running mint, but at this point I'm ready to install water cooling into that turbo cartridge there, just to keep things cool, under control, and hopefully that's gonna make the turbo last a little bit longer, because this turbo creates a lot of heat, guys, a lot of heat under boost. This is a small turbo, so once you're in the higher RPMs, this is kind of getting out of the efficiency range, and it's creating a lot of heat for the engine. And you know, we're just gonna cool it down. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I got, what parts I got, what do you need, why you want to cool your turbo if it's available. Alright, so it took me some time to figure out what I need exactly, and here you have it right in front of you guys. So we have banjo bolts right over here from Kingugawa. It's an M14 by 1.5, and it is a 90. Just be cautious of how this 90 looks. It's a 90 this way, not a 90 that way, right? Some turbos just come with oil ports, right? There's an oil feed right on top, and then there's an oil drain on the bottom. And some turbos are just perfectly fine being oil cooled. Some turbos, for example, like this one and the one we are running in the car, which is a TB25, they have both types of cooling. They have oil cooling, also water cooling. So if your turbo comes with ports for water cooling, it's probably a good idea eventually to get the turbo water cooled and just keep it nice and cool. So essentially, I'll mock this up in a second, and the other things you need is a T, and we're going to be taking our water connection from the water heater hoses again here, which we got from the junkyard. We'll probably just tap into the ones that are in the vehicle, and then if we ever go back to stock or anything, I have an extra set here that I picked up from the junkyard haul. So right over here, this is a 3/4 by 5/8 by 3/4 T, and this is going to work perfectly with a 1/2-inch hose connected to the factory 3/4 water heater hose. So let me mock this up real quick and show you guys how it's going to look like on the vehicle. Alright, so here I have it mocked up, and as you can see, coolant is going to go in through here, travel through the center cartridge, which creates the most amount of heat, and then from the opposite side it's going to drain back into the engine. It's just going to keep water flowing through this heat source right here, and that water going through this area is going to take that heat away from the turbo, which will yield cooler intake temperature charges as well, because the hotter this is going to create hotter temperatures in your compressor housing as well, and we're trying to avoid something like that. So definitely, if you got a choice between two turbos, pick up the turbo that has water cooling. You'll probably extend the life of the turbo by a decent amount. You'll keep intake air temperatures hopefully down a little bit as well, and make the bearings in the turbocharger last a little bit longer because they'll run cooler. So there are some pros to running a water setup. There's really no cons except the extra hoses that you have to run and tap into the coolant, and you have a little bit of higher chance of possibly having a leak in the future. But the way I see it, the benefit outweighs the cons. So we're gonna take what we purchased here, and we're gonna go under the vehicle. We're gonna have to raise it up, and we'll get started trying to mock it up. Again, one port is gonna go right here, one port's gonna go on the inside, And then we're gonna take off this charge pipe here because our coolant lines are right over there. There's 2 of them, and we'll have to tap into those. So I'm gonna get started here. All right, and we have access to the water lines, guys. These 2 right over here. So we're probably gonna tap into them somewhere right along here and route it to the turbo. Now I know the front side, it won't be a problem of the turbo, but the back side will be a problem to route because of the wastegate, and again, the compressor housing and the piping is right at the bottom there. But we'll take a look at the turbo. We'll see how the turbo is looking. Doesn't look like there's oil contamination on the compressor right now, so we'll inspect that, and we'll probably empty the catch can as well, see how much oil accumulated in there, slowly but surely. Overall, very easy to remove a lot of these parts. That's why I really like this build. It's very simple. All right, oil catch can. Let's take a look at the oil catch can. We got some contamination there. It's definitely doing its job. And even here you can see that it's definitely seeing some blow by and filtering that out. So that's good. Not that much though, and this was probably 1,600 miles at this point. So we can go a whole oil change, no problem here. Got your gaskets in order. We're gonna be running it stealth. So I'm gonna be feeding it under the turbo. You can also feed it over the compressor housing if you'd like, but I just prefer the stealth look. And you can see it clears the compressor housing no problem. We'll just have to tighten it up. The back, I do have to take off that bolt right over here, that back one, just because it won't fit. So we'll have to maybe trim the bolt in order to get the line, the water line in the back. But so far we have progress. That looks solid. The other piece, I'm thinking about possibly putting it somewhere towards the back, just because it's going to be easier to run it from there. Over here I could possibly put it, but I just don't like the bends here. Not really feeling the bends. Alright guys, so mocked it up right over here. As you can see, I think that should be good. I didn't feel like digging so far behind the firewall there, and if there's ever a leak, it's easier to keep track right here if it's in sight. I got both of the water hoses mocked up right now. I didn't connect them just yet. I got my heater hose right here that I got from AC Delco, 1/2 inch. I had 25 feet. This hose is also the same hose that I ran my oil catch can tubing, so I'm reusing that. That's particularly why we went with these specific sizes for the water lines. So we're gonna mock them up. Probably need a couple feet on each one. Then we'll probably go under the car, tighten the water lines, fill up the radiator, and start her up, see if she's leaking. I'm hoping this is gonna work, and I'm hoping that there is not going to be any problem, so we'll see. Alright guys, I got pretty much everything connected here. I'm short one clamp, but it is very tight, so I'm gonna run it without a clamp here. Instead, I chose to put the clamps on these ends right here. Very tight fit, but we got everything going. Everything is ran right underneath here, around the battery, tie down, and right in there. So I'm just gonna pop these in, connect them, tighten them down, and we'll get it going. So far so good. Oil catch can reinstalled, cleaned it up nicely, and it's taken a while, but I think we're making good progress. The only thing I hope is it doesn't leak. Alright guys, finished topping off the coolant reservoir and everything. I'm just about ready to start it. I did find another clamp, so that's going to be clamped off. Everything is routed the way it needs to be. We'll start it up right now. We'll let it idle, and you know, we'll just watch for leaks. Nothing is connected obviously, so I'm not going to be revving it, but I'm just mainly concerned about these two connections here. I think these will be pretty solid. Is that turbo spinning? Yeah, that turbo is spinning all right. Looks good. That's why turbo is king. Everything seems to be working properly, guys. Got everything running nice and hot. I can feel the temperature really hot in the wire, in the hoses already. No leaks from the banjo bolts and fittings. So overall, guys, very successful installation. There's still one bolt that I have to put in, which holds the wastegate actuator. It is holding on the one bolt right now that's there, but once it cools down, I'm gonna try to fit this bolt in. If it won't go in, it won't go in. I'll just run it off of that one bolt. But so far it looks promising, guys, and all I gotta do is sneak the intake back in and this installation is finished. I'll be driving around, logging, checking temperatures as well, see if it helps. But again, maybe it's not something I'll notice right away, but the longevity of the turbo is something to keep in mind. Anyway, if you like this video, if you enjoy this content, subscribe to the channel like always. Make sure you guys check out my Instagram as well. I got videos out there and sneak peeks of things I'm doing. But yeah, R18 crew, what's up?
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold. You might need a sweater too. I'ma put a ride on ya. Kid from California, trying to make it in life. In school they never taught ya.